So I have had about 30,000 miles on one of these internal regulator kits that you can buy for the denso alternators that are common on Dodge Cummins diesels when you put them into another vehicle and you want to internally regulate the factory alternator. You add this little $60 kit, or I don't know, they're between $40 and $75. I've seen them. 80 something. I'll put it in the comments. Anyway, you put the internal regulator kit into the alternator and you're good to go, right? Well, I noticed that there's a bleed current constantly present in the truck, and so I tracked it down and found that half of it, there's about a 20 milliamp total bleed. Half of it goes to my radio, so I've got a backup battery and stuff in the radio that keeps the channel presets and all that. And I also have a trailer brake that has settings in it and so forth, and it gets a little bit of bleed current. So that adds up to about 10 milliamps. I have it set here to 300 milliamp range. I'm measuring current on the negative side of the battery terminal. The whole current going into the truck right now with the key off is 9 milliamps, just because the polarity is negative, just because of the way I have it hooked up. Doesn't matter, it's 9 milliamps. And watch what happens when I connect the positive post of the alternator right now. See that? Another 10 milliamps. And if you measure resistance between the red wire and the black wire on this regulator, you get about 1K ohms, which if you do the math, Ohm's law, you end up with about 10 milliamps. So their design, I've had two of these regulators now, they both do it, brand new out of the box. Their design has an intentional 10 milliamp power consumption all the time when your key's off. I do not understand why that would be the case. I'm going to send them an email and link them to this video. Perhaps they will answer that question, because it doesn't make sense to me. There's switch 12 volts going to that regulator. You don't have to connect that red wire directly to the battery post. If you connected it to the switched 12 volt side, then you would not have this bleed constantly. Yet this is how they have you hook it up, probably to get a more accurate battery reading because you're connected directly to the post. But it results in this 10 milliamp bleed. And if you have an occasional vehicle like my step van RV, this thing gets driven, I don't know, a few times a year. So yeah, it'll sit in the driveway for a month, and you go to start it and the battery's dead. These batteries are not cheap these days. This is not a great thing. So now I have to disconnect the battery terminals or put a big isolator switch on it to avoid a regulator that bleeds 10 milliamps constantly. I mean, it's not the best situation, so I wonder why they did that. Anyway, just wanted to report it in case somebody else is having bleed issues. Now you know. Get about 10 milliamps total drain on the truck, and it'll go down actually a little once everything goes to sleep. Like the brake controller will go down about 5 milliamps, so it'll drop to about half this. And then, but you hook the alternator up, boom, there's another 10 milliamps. Nothing you can do about that. There's no brains inside that alternator regulator. It's just a 1K ohm or a little over 1K ohm resistance between the power terminal and ground. So it's just going to bleed like that no matter what. Not a great design. Don't really love it. Thought I would share. Bye.